Yes! Yes, 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 yes! You guys, I have some great news for you. If you like watching my free videos on YouTube or my live chats, then make sure to watch this video to the very end because there's going to be a huge announcement. I'm really excited about it, and I know that you're going to be really excited about it too. But before we get to all the excitement, I have to ask you one question. What is the most difficult aspect of learning English for you? Write your answers in the comments below this video. A lot of people say articles, present perfect, and other grammar topics are the most difficult for them. Other people say it's pronunciation of words like ship and sheep. And I've noticed a ton of people say that the most difficult aspect of learning English for them is sounding like a native speaker. And this is a topic that I've thought about a lot. You already know I'm a teacher of English as a foreign language, and I've taught thousands of hours of lessons with students. And this topic always comes up. Now, I have great news because I've finally come up with a way to teach my students how they can sound like a native speaker too. Most people think sounding like a native speaker means not having an accent at all. They think it means never making grammar mistakes, always choosing the right words, and speaking faster than the speed of light. And I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. Plain and simple. You are wrong. None of that stuff matters. Let me tell you why. Every person has an accent. An accent is just the way that that specific person pronounces sounds. You can hear accents clearly when you focus on vowel sounds. In every language, there are different accents. Having an accent doesn't mean that you can't speak the language correctly. In fact, it's impossible not to have an accent. So when a person from Texas and a person from New York City meet each other, they both think that the other guy has an accent. But more importantly, they think that they themselves do not have an accent. But you still might be saying to yourself, well, of course it's okay to have a Texan accent or a New York accent because those are American accents. But people won't understand my Russian accent or Brazilian accent or whatever accent you have. And guys, that's not true. Think of your accent as the sauce you dip your chicken in before you put it in your mouth. Maybe you don't use sauce, but I usually do. Either ketchup or barbecue sauce or something else. So your accent is like the sauce, and English is like the chicken. It doesn't matter what sauce you dip it in, it doesn't matter how much sauce you use, it doesn't matter if you mix sauces together, well, that's not going to be very tasty. The point is, English is the same. The basic rules are the same, and the majority of words are the same in all English-speaking countries. It doesn't matter what sauce you dip it in, you're still going to know that it's chicken. Just like it doesn't matter what accent you have, people are still going to know that you're speaking English. So our goal shouldn't be to eat chicken without sauce or to speak English without an accent. Instead, our goal should be to use the right amount of sauce to give it our own special flavor. Your accent is a window to your individual personality. And that's why never making grammar mistakes, always choosing the right words, and speaking faster than the speed of light are not important. If you listen to any native speaker of any language, you'll hear mistakes and non-standard speech. Although they understand what's correct and incorrect, they use the language differently in formal and in informal situations. They also change the rules and make mistakes on purpose sometimes. What does that tell us? It tells us that if you speak correctly, you will not speak like a native speaker. In order to speak like a native speaker, you need to make mistakes. You need to change the rules. And you need to create your own way of speaking. And don't worry if you speak slowly. Even when native speakers talk fast, people tell them to slow down because they can't understand them. Anyways, the point of speaking a language is not to be correct, but to communicate ideas and meanings. And my first announcement is, it's finally here, guys. You asked for it, so I made it. A webinar series that will teach you how to sound like a native speaker. That's right, a lot of you have written me and asked me for a video or a course that will help you sound like a native speaker. And you might be thinking, well, of course you can tell us how to sound like a native speaker, Chris. You are a native speaker. But honestly, guys, not every native speaker can tell you how to sound like a native speaker and why you don't sound like a native speaker now. And you've probably seen a million videos online called something like how to speak like a native speaker or how to sound more natural or other things like that. And sure, some of the teachers who make those videos are good teachers. I'm not saying that they aren't, but there is one thing that they all lack, and that is practicality. A lot of what they teach on those videos and on posts online is a lot of theory without many real-life examples and without the ability for you to practice with the teacher. And that's why I decided to blow your mind By creating the English Hacks webinar series for students with a pre-intermediate or higher level of English that will actually get you results. I know that's what you want. That's what every student wants. I wish I had someone to tell me this type of information about the languages that I studied. I would have learned a lot faster, been able to speak better, met more people, made more connections, and would have remembered a lot more. If someone had offered me something like this webinar series for speaking another language, I would be able to communicate with a larger percentage of the world right now. And if you're like me, you probably feel a little nervous about how you speak the language with native speakers and if they understand you correctly. And all of that worrying and stress about how you speak is completely unnecessary. It doesn't help you at all. You just want to study and get results. I completely understand you. The result that you get from this webinar is that all those problems will be solved. So let's take a look at what this webinar series is all about. The first day is called Change Your Language, Change Your Life. And the first day of the series is really about focusing on what's important. We're going to talk about mistakes that people make when they learn English, because a lot of people make the same mistakes. You know, sometimes a book and internet resources just don't give you results. It's just a fact of life. And I'm telling you that it's even worse than that. Many books and resources tell you the wrong information. They create bad habits for students. And they actually make students think that they need to learn more than they really do. So whether you're a student of English or a teacher of English, the first day of the series is definitely going to be useful and apply to your real life. The second day is all about speaking like a local and correcting problems that all learners of English have, so that they can start speaking naturally. The second day is called Why You Sound Like a Weirdo. We're going to look at why people sound unnatural, why locals think some people sound strange, and I'll give you strategies, tips, and tricks on how to go from Masha from Uralmash to Mary of Fifth Avenue. Here you will see specific examples of general concepts that you can use immediately to start sounding more natural in your English speech. Day 3 is called Don't Call Me Sir, Pal. And this is where we'll look at how speaking formal English and informal English are different, and what we can do to sound like a local in any situation. This is probably one of the things that I noticed the most in students' speech. They always want to speak formally and politely and forget that this type of speech sometimes sounds strange and unnatural. And what's worse is people who hear this type of speech will be very confused about what you're trying to say, even if they understand every word of your speech. And the last day, day 4, is called The Small Stuff Makes a Big Difference, and it really does. That's why the last day is all about small aspects of language and language culture that you could miss if you're not looking. These are clues that will help you tremendously. They're like cheat codes for the English language. Now let's be honest, to understand something completely, you need to practice it. But how can you practice sounding like a native speaker? You either do or you don't, right? Actually, no. First of all, at the end of each webinar, you'll get PDFs that will help you remember and recall the concepts discussed in the webinar. Secondly, when you register for any of my webinars, you'll get access to my Get Motivated Telegram channel, where you'll receive resources that will motivate you to learn English. And you'll get access to my private chat in Telegram, where you can ask me questions and I'll answer you. And on top of that, I'll personally check your speaking practice homework to make sure that you're mastering the skills and strategies from the webinar session. My goal is to get you speaking like a native speaker now. So here's your first assignment. Click the link below this video and register for the webinar. I'm only accepting a limited number of people so that I'll have time to focus on the needs of each person who registers. Believe it or not, this will probably be the most important investment of your time studying English this year. So here's what I want you to do while you're waiting for the webinars to start. Make a decision about how much time you can dedicate to learning English in the next month. Ask yourself, if I spend 1 hour each day studying English, will that help me speak more naturally? What if someone could show me what I need to concentrate on so that I speak more naturally? You guys, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to learn and what you don't need to learn, what you should spend time studying and what you should forget about. And I'm going to check your progress each step of the way. 4 days of webinars that you will be able to use forever. And you'll always have access to them, so you can replay them whenever you want. So click the link below and register now. Then when you've decided how much time you can commit to English, separate your study sessions into categories. So if you only have 3 days a week to study English, Monday, focus on vocabulary. Wednesday, focus on grammar and rules. Friday, focus on pronunciation. And while you're studying and during your day, get in the habit of talking to yourself in English. I know you probably think that only crazy people talk to themselves, but this is really going to help. I promise. Start talking to yourself in English, or at least thinking to yourself in English. Practice formulating sentences in your mind and then saying them. And another thing you should do is come up with as many questions as you can about areas of English that you don't fully understand yet, or things that give you trouble. I'll answer all those questions and more in the Telegram chat that you'll get access to. So click the link, register for the webinar, decide how much time you're going to spend on English, make a plan for what you're going to study, and get motivated, because this webinar is going to change how you speak English. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in day 1 of the English Hacks webinar series.